Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and welcome to my DFS review video for the 2022 Valero Texas Open. Whole purpose of this video, basically review the sweet spot process to see how well it did, and if it didn't do well, where we can improve. So let's just jump right on in. And just a reminder, I had some giveaways being ran this week. I was giving $30 away as long as we hit the goal of 350 subscribers. We are stuck at 329, so all we need is 21 more subscribers and we'll run this giveaway. I'm doing it all the way through the Masters. So we have until Sunday night in order to get to that 350. So 21 of you guys who are not yet subscribed, if y'all hit that subscribe button, we'll run this giveaway Sunday night of the Masters. Someone will win $30. And of course, prize picks. If you haven't signed up with it and you're in a state that allows prize picks, if you use the promo code SweetSpot and put 20 bucks in your account, I'm gonna give you $20 back. So it's like you're going to be able to play it for free. And DraftKings is going to match your deposit up to $100. So you can either put $20 in, play for free, or put $100 in, and they'll give you another $100, and it'll only cost you $80. So you'll just save a little bit. But if you do want to play it for free, put 20 in. You'll end up having 40 in your account because, again, Prize Picks will match your deposit. Super simple stuff. There's actually a link in the description below. I'll get you straight to the sign up page. So highly encourage you guys to do that. Of course, then I had the cheat sheet available as well as the optimizer. Those are already available for the Masters, by the way. So I believe there's a link in the description. Yep, there's a link in the description for that cheat sheet for the Masters. And then obviously follow the same way you would for the optimizer. You can just watch the preview video that I put out for the Masters. That one's already out. It shows you how to get the optimizer for that. But let's go ahead. Let's jump into this thing. JJ Spawn wins it. He is a first-time winner. Most of us that have been playing DraftKings since like 2017, 2018, JJ Spawn has always kind of been a favorite amongst a lot of people. Usually somewhere in the 7K range most of the time. Sometimes even in the 6K range when the fields were a little tougher. He was always an easy one to go to. So I have a lot of name recognition. Well, I shouldn't say it that way, but I remember JJ Spawn. I remember him. I remember playing him. Super nice guy from his interviews. It's awesome. Super cool JJ Spawn hit. And oh, by the way, I had 2 people reach out to me with winning tickets on JJ Spawn. So congratulations to you guys. Trevor Sansos won and Zach DeYoung. Awesome. Awesome stuff. I'm not going to go through the top 10. We'll leave that for like the GPP winning lineup versus the optimal, and then kind of going into the buckets to see how well they did. So I'll save all that till later. But why don't we just go ahead and jump right on in to the optimal versus the $5. We'll start with the optimal lineup. So the optimal scored 632 points. It used up 46,600. So we would be leaving $3,400 on the table to hit the optimal. If you've been with me throughout all my other videos, I never, ever, and I still won't ever suggest leaving that much money on the table. The big reason why is when you leave that much on the table, your the amount of combination, or I should say this, the amount of lineups that you can create just by leaving a bunch of money on the table grows exponentially. So let's say if you had 50,000, you made all of your lineups at $50,000. I'm just going to use a round number. This isn't true, but let's say you could only make 1,000 total combined lineups just by making all your lineups to 50,000, leaving no money on the table. Well, when you allow more and more money, let's say $3,400, that 1,000 lineups becomes 30 million lineups. Like, it gets that huge, that crazy. So how do you pick the right one? It is, trust me, I've been doing this optimal lineup stuff for a long time. It is really difficult to find the exact lineup that will be the optimal lineup. Because if you think about it, if you don't have JJ Spawn in your lineup, you're dead in the water anyways. But then you have to have, you have to have Matt Kuchar to go with Matt Jones and Bo Hostler, as well as Adam Hadwin and Keegan Bradley. So you start in your lineups Keegan Bradley, Adam Hadwin, and then you're going to those 7K and 6K. Those exact guys, probably not. And if you just look at your top 10, you did have a lot of 7K and 6K golfers, so you could build a lineup with all 6 guys in the top 10, leaving $3,000, $4,000 on the table. But it's all about hitting the optimal, right? And trying to win a GPP with the optimal, or if you do miss the optimal, then you just have the next best thing, which should win you the GPP winning lineup. But either way, it just opens up the path to so many different types of lineups you can create. So you would have had to have picked those ones exactly. And I get it. Optimal lineups are that way. You got to pick those exact ones. But I would rather chase a mentality of, I'm never leaving more than $1,000 on the table. I'm limiting the amount of lineups I can create and trying to take down the optimal that way. And if I don't, then I'm going to win the GPP instead. Like that's my mindset. Like I've chased optimals by leaving money on the table before. Way too difficult. Way too difficult. You are handicapping yourself by a bunch. So anyways, your GPP winning lineup left $400 on the table. So there you go. If you wanted to win a GPP, you only had to leave $400 on the table. And that scored 582.5 points. So that's 50 points, nearly 50 points behind the optimal. And that included JJ Spawn, Matt Kuchar, Adam Hadwin, Troy Merritt, Gary Woodland, and Siwoo Kim. So this guy went heavy on the 9K range. I should just say he had 2 9Ks, and then Adam Hadwin was 8,900, pretty darn close to 9K. And then filled in the rest with 7K golfers and JJ Spawn. So that's a cool way to build lineups. I really like Troy Merritt this week. He showed up in the model quite a bit. I had to force the optimizer to select Adam Hadwin. I also really like Beau Hosler this week. I wish he would have won the tournament, but that's okay. A really good fit for him. He likes tougher tracks. Just reminds me, once I get the database up and running, I can look at this stuff. I can look at winning scores, because the winning score was, I don't think I actually have it up. No. Easy way to fix that. I can just copy and paste this really quickly. This is usually what I do every single week, so don't mind me. Winning score, 13 under. What was the average winning score? I have the Masters information up. Never mind. I think it was around like 14.5, if I remember correctly. I think that's what the average winning score was. So this is right next to that. So if we were researching, tournaments where the winning score was, say, around 14, 15 under, how about a range of like 12 under to 16 under? And we looked at all the golfers that play well. Beau Hosler is going to be one of those guys that plays well in those courses. He's a grinder. He likes low scoring events, as in there aren't a lot of birdies. I hate that with golf, trying to figure out the right, like, I'm a golfer and I still have issues saying the correct thing. It's more of it's a higher score. So closer to par, maybe even nearing like plus range. That would be going higher. Going lower would be going more in the negative. So anyways, that's a Beau Hosler type of course. I think that's also an Adam Hadwin and a Charles Howell III course. It really burns me because I know that I can get on players like this. I can make my model so much better if I had that capability. But when you spreadsheet information, super difficult, and I'm just not going to pay for the other websites, not when I can do it myself. It's just a balancing act, trying to get the content out, trying to update the spreadsheets, and then working on the database on the back end, as well as having a 9-to-5 job. It's just, I'm doing the best I can. I'm really close, by the way, super close. I was already working on scrubbing the data that I currently have, making sure everything lines up perfectly. We're super close. I mean, I think maybe in a month's time, I'll have the database up and running. And hopefully by that time, I'll have a website up and running, and I can just easily connect the two, and boom, you guys will be able to use the same stuff that I am using. So anyways, that was your optimal and your $5. I kind of went on a tangent there, but yeah, they didn't leave a lot of money on the table. Now, if I want to get all 6 of my golfers inside the top 10 and also take down the GPP, I usually like try to figure that out. I was able to find a lineup that worked. You would have left $700 on the table and you would have scored 604. So we would have scored 20 more points than the GPP winning lineup. And it included all 6 guys inside the top 10. That's all these highlighted in green for the salaries. So it was JJ Spawn, Matt Kuchar, Adam Hadwin, CH3, Keegan Bradley, and Gary Woodland. So that would have included 2 9K golfers, just like the GPP winning lineup. Adam Hadwin, Charles Howell III would have been different, slightly better than Troy Merritt, and then same as JJ Spawn and Matt Kuchar. So those are your 3 lineups, you know, we could have gotten to, could have been close. I want to see how well the buckets did. But first I'm going to go into the SweetSpot score. Unfortunately, this is what drives, for me, this is what drives the optimizer. So if the score isn't perfect, you know, if the rankings aren't perfect, it's highly unlikely the optimizer is going to select some of those players. Even if I use all the bucket conditionals and stuff like that, I can be completely right with the buckets, but if the score isn't good enough, I'm just never going to build those lineups. So what I want to see is if I put a filter on this and I sort top to bottom on score, I want to see at least 4 optimal lineup golfers inside the top 20. So you can see 1 to 20 right here. I only have 1. Now you can see a second one, Adam Hadwin. He's number 21. So he was close. There's 2. And if I'm going to have a consolation prize, I would like to see at least 4 guys inside the top 10. And I have 1, 2, 3 guys inside the top 10. Now, Adam Hadwin, he's right there at 21. That would have been a 4th. That would have been nice. But what really stunk this week, I told you guys you wanted to have a 10K golfer in your lineup. Well, Abram Answer withdraws Wednesday. And like Wednesday at 8 p.m. or it's like between 6 and 8 p.m. from what I remember. Somebody reached out to me and said Answer withdrew. Which meant I had to go in and change all my Answer lineups. And then we all heard late Wednesday night that Hideki like somehow messed up his back or something like that. Like he re-aggravated it. So it was only a matter of time before he just withdrew from the event. He did play round 1. You can see that here. He was my number 1 golfer in my model. He played round 1 and then he went halfway through round 2 and withdrew. So that took out another 10K golfer. So we started with 5 10K golfers and it went down to 3. I will show you when we get to the bucket system. With that happening, no more, like, it was, the projections actually went under 1 for the minimum. And it actually no. It still showed 1, but it for the maximum, it wasn't over 2. And if you remember the rules that I've talked about in the strategy videos over the last couple of years or last couple of weeks, if that maximum isn't over 2, then the minimum's automatically 0. Even if the minimum shows 1 point whatever, it's above 1. I've learned long enough now that when it's that small, like that, the range is that small, the likelihood of that happening isn't very large, especially when there aren't that many people in the bucket to begin with. And we'll go over that again. I'm sorry, just way too long right now talking about that. But anyways, 10K didn't work out because of the withdraws. But you can see Rory was number 2. That was painful to watch. He couldn't putt. And then towards the end of his second round, he couldn't hit anything straight. So it really annoying, put it that way. As I go down, I guess I don't have anything else to mention. It's nice to see there aren't a lot of missed cuts within my rankings. There's more green than there is dark red, which is also really good. So the SweetSpot score was, if I'm going to give it a grading scale, we'll say it's a C+, B-. Like, it passes, isn't super good, but it still works. SweetSpot score goes into Marquee Tee Time pairings. So let me go ahead and sort by game number and then filter by color. So if you remember in the strategy video, we went over Marquee Tee Time pairings. And what that meant was if the 3 golfers in the pairing, their rankings were below a threshold that I had created, they were going to be in the Marquee Tee Times. Now, the rule here is you don't want to find the same golfer in the same lineup. And you want to select at least 2. So when you look at the Marquee Tee Times, So I have font over here in light green, and then I have font over here in black over in the rankings. We're only focusing on the ones with the font with black. These are the true marquee tee times. The other ones are honorable mentions, which is kind of funny. There are more golfers in the optimal lineup within those honorable mentions. So probably should change the threshold a little bit, and I'm thinking about it. So we'll talk about that here a little shortly. But anyways, marquee tee times, we only have Matt Kuchar to show up in the optimal lineup, so it didn't work out this year for marquee tee times. But then when we go to the honorable mentions, you can actually see one group down here. Keegan Bradley was in the lineup with Beau Hosler, or in a T10 pairing with Beau Hosler. Then you have Adam Hadwin up here. So I think, yeah, so Sung-Yul No was the terrible ranked golfer that really just bumped this group down. But the other two golfers were really good. And I think I want to always make a top 10 golfer. To go with a top 25 golfer, I think I have to make a rule like that. And if there's at least two of these guys, then we're going to make this another marquee tee time, because it's unfortunate the tournament paired him up together with Sung-Yul No. And Sung-Yul No for me was just a bad bad golfer to put in that group. Then we go down here, and like you have Keegan Bradley. I really like Sam Ryder this week, and Beau Hosler. I also really like Beau Hosler. Two guys in the optimal lineup. Now, the optimal lineup wasn't easy to get to. You had to leave $3,400 on the table. Again, I don't recommend that. So there's no way we get there with the lineups I had. Remember the green colored, actually, that's a good point. So the green is that realistic optimal lineup that I created. You know, the numbers here that are highlighted in green, those are in the realistic optimal. And if I highlight these back again, you can see I actually do have two golfers from the marquee tee times in that lineup. So I'm going to say it worked, because they technically are what I would deem the realistic optimal. There's no way we're leaving $3,400 on the table. So there's no way. And if I actually open this up, Woodland is a part of the Sweet Spot Optimal. Like, I keep track of that here. So he's a part of the Sweet Spot Optimal, as is Matt Kuchar. So I'm going to say that's a victory. Now, going back to the rankings, like, I could get to Keegan Bradley. I don't know what my threshold would be. This is 112. I think what I had coming into this event was 85. This is 30 points over 85. It's pretty close to 34 or 30 points. That's not even close enough. So I don't even think these guys would have been in the marquee tee times no matter what. So I don't really care. And in all reality, now that we went over the marquee tee times with the realistic optimals, I'm cool with that. So we're going to just stick with that. This gets us to the buckets now. So like I said, the scoring, when we look at the optimizer, the scoring is going to drive what the optimizer selects, but it's going to follow the conditionals that we have for the bucket system. So if I actually hide all of this information right here, I like to keep track of the success rate. And actually, I'm going to hide the bucket totals, I think. Forget how I do this. I might as well. We don't need to look at strength of field. Yeah, this works right here. I like to keep track of the success rate. I want to show you guys how well it has worked for every single event. And over here, there's a formula written in here. It first looks at how many top 10 golfers there were in that bucket. And then it compares it to the projections. So my projection for this last year one bucket was, we wanted to select somewhere between 1 to 3 golfers from that bucket. There ended up being 2. So right away, that's success. That's the first check that it does. Now, what if this number in the top 10 is higher than the projection? So let's say this one here. The last week did not play. So remember, this also included match play golfers. So this is 11. 11 is greater than, remember, we always round up with our maximums. 11 is much greater than 8. But the next check that I do is how many were in the optimal lineup. And well, guess what? You can only have 6 golfers in the optimal lineup. That projection, or 6 lays between the 4 in the minimum and 8 in the maximum. So that one hits. That one was perfect. A better one to use actually would be this one. Actually, this one right here. Course history 3s. There were 5 inside the top 10. I'm only projecting 1 to 4. So it's already way over that. Or not so much way over that. It's over that. But in the optimal lineup, there were only 3. So therefore, it matches that projection. It's within 3. Even the Sweet Spot Optimal only had 2. That still lies within that projection. So it's a success. You can see there were 2 inside the top 10 for the bucket right underneath it, the one that failed. I'm only projecting 0 to 1. Like, I'm not doing anything more than that. And there were actually 2 golfers in the optimal lineup. So this one actually failed. Although the Sweet Spot Optimal did succeed because it only had 1 in there. And then another one, 10K range. I said you wanted somewhere between 1 to 2. Well, here's the thing. I actually have to open up the strength of field. And I'm going to actually hide this stuff. So salaries, 10K. This is only including, man, I got to open it up one more time. So these 10Ks, I only had 4 after Answer withdrew. So I already updated this. I also updated on the cheat sheet. So there's 4. Well, guess what? Hideki Matsuyama withdrew. This number is not reflected in there. I actually have formulas here. But if I were to go ahead and put in a 3, as well as I remove his strength of field value. So if I went over here and we open this back, actually I think Hideki's part of this. Yep, he's right here. So if I look at Hideki and I scroll over in the golfer information range and I look at the strength of field, he's worth 18 points of strength of field. So if I actually subtract 18 from this number, it's 53. If I do that and we look at the new projections, 1.03 to 1.71. Now that's telling you you want somewhere between 1 to 2, but if you remember, I've learned over the years, if this number is never greater than 2, first of all, it's not an anchor bucket anymore. That means you don't want at least one of them. And the minimum automatically goes down to 0. So just with Hideki withdrawing from the event, if we knew that ahead of time, this bucket would actually be one of those I'd say, nope, it's no longer an anchor bucket. It's no longer you want one from that bucket. So go ahead and disregard this. You know, like you don't have to select one. I still would personally, I would probably strongly suggest you to, but it would no longer be a lock. It would no longer be an anchor bucket. I wouldn't say it's all, you know, again, I wouldn't say it's a lock. Let's put it that way. So really, out of all of the buckets, 36 of them, 34 hit. 2 of them were incorrect, when in all reality, 1 was incorrect and 35 were correct. Unfortunately, Hideki did play, so I can't make that proclamation. Still, 34 out of 36 is pretty good. And I don't know what that number is off the top of my head, but we can do some quick math. Some 34 divided by 36, 94%. If you watch the bucket system video that I put out Friday, I think it was Friday, that's the clip that we've been hitting these buckets at. And remember, it's all about finding golfers in those buckets. If you use the cheat sheet, they're all assigned numbers right here. This is all your bucket numbers. So you just got to go through the cheat sheet, find your favorite golfers. Hopefully they fit in those buckets. Because, I mean, they just hit. They're pretty darn close to perfect. Super close. So with all that being said, can we build a lineup with the optimizer? Again, it revolves around this metric right here. I have all the buckets in here, all the conditionals that I sent you guys, whoever used them. But instead of my metric, now I put in the DraftKings points that are associated with those players. If I hit run optimize, I think this lineup is just going to duplicate. We actually create a lineup at 561. We're leaving $300 on the table. 561, if you recall, does not beat the GPP winning lineup, and that's what we're trying to do here. GPP winning lineup was 582.5. So if I go back into, if I go back into here, I have the 10K range set at 1. You want to pick 1. Well, what if we put 0 down here and hit run optimize? We get closer. We get to 575. It still doesn't take down a GPP. Remember, we need to get to 582.5. So if I were, let's see, I actually saved all the conditionals right here. These were actually what the optimizer chooses to take it down. So if we just put zeros all across the board where I have ones, we can see what the optimizer wants to select. So we can do something like this. Hit run optimize. Let's see. So this is basically putting all the minimums to 0 for the bucket logic. And now we create a lineup that scores 596.5. That definitely takes down a GPP, which is unfortunate. If I were to actually copy this, we can see where the optimizer went instead of following the conditionals. So it selected 2 last year 1s. That's awesome. That's what we want. But it did not select 2 last year 6s. Now that wasn't a bucket that failed. That actually hit. It just, they didn't score enough DraftKings points to take down a GPP. So right away, this one kind of failed. Selected 6 last week 6s, which is super good. It selected the course history buckets that we anchored down on. That's really good. Recent form 3s, unfortunately, we wanted 2. It only selected 1. So this would have been another point of contention that wouldn't have worked. I wonder, was Hideki in that bucket? No, he was not. So that one doesn't work out. Stroke chain buckets, those worked out for the anchor ones that we had. 10K, obviously, that one didn't work out, but if we would have known that Hideki would have withdrew, it would have helped us out. And then I put down these group numbers here. It 1, 2, 3, 4 selected 4 golfers in the groups that we chose, and that I highlighted as the marquee groups. And we had 2 AM golfers and 4 PM golfers. So that all worked out really well. Ooh, I wonder if this is what's also preventing it. I didn't even think about that. Let's see. 596.5. No. It actually creates a worse. Maybe that's because this was. That would be really weird. Wow. I can't believe it create. Why does it go backwards like that? Oh, because I put the conditions in there. Whoopsies. All right. Never mind. We can we can ignore that. I don't think I would ever want to put 4. Anyways. So, yeah. I mean, with all the bucket conditionals in there, we couldn't I mean, we would have to leave more money on the table. Like, I think if I actually put 4,600 down, like having 4,000 open, I think it gets to a lineup that beats the GPP. No, we're still a little bit behind. Never mind. Oh, wait. One last thing I want to try. I had this structured, but I've derailed. We're off the rails. There we go. 606.5, 47.6, leaving $2,400 on the table. Yeah, really hard to get to. Difficult to do that. I personally not a fan of that, but yeah, following the buckets, it still would have worked. Putting all the bucket conditionals in there, we still would have taken down a GPP. But it's just how the cookie crumbles. Can't win them all. Hopefully we do at the Masters though. That'd be really awesome. I don't have anything else to provide. All I have to, actually I do. Masters week. There's a lot of things that I am providing that I'm doing. I put out a bucket system video describing what it is. But I mean, the main ones are you can win $30 this week just by being subscribed to the channel and commenting on all the videos that I produce. So if you do that, it's just, I want to reward those that are participating. And if you subscribe and become, you know, a follower, like that's all I want to do is just reward for you guys doing that. It's easy for you guys. It's free for you guys just to hit that subscribe button. But just by doing that and commenting on a video, let me give you an opportunity to win some money. Like that's kind of what I want to do. So again, this is going to be available all the way through Sunday. So highly encourage you guys to do that. And then Prize Picks. If you haven't yet signed up and you're in a state that allows it, you have a free time playing the Masters. And I think we can win some money at the Masters because in a way, I think the Masters is easier to predict. I think they'll have some teaser lines that will be a little tricky, but I think we'll be able to navigate through them. Highly encourage you guys to sign up. Again, there's a link in the description below. You do that, you put 20 bucks in your account, I'm going to give you $20. I get a report of all the new people signing up, and they'll let me know if that deposit was made. So easy for me to send you 20 bucks. So yeah, do that. And of course, the cheat sheet for the Masters is available, as is the optimizer. All you got to do is, again, be subscribed, comment on my videos, and then reach out to me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com, and you're going to get the optimizer. I'll send it to you. The one that we just showcased, the one I have on the screen, I have this set up for the Masters already. So just reach out. Let me know. And again, got to be subscribed. I'll ask to see what your comment was. But yeah, it's as easy as that. Anyways, let's get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next Masters video. All right, bye.